What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Horrorheads podcast. I am Rich Mallery here with my co-host Jerry Lourenco.
Going up tonight, Rich.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day today. So you can follow us. You can follow us on Instagram at Horrorheads podcast, or you can email us your love and hate at horrorheadspodcast@gmail.com. So today we're going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. We're going to be doing things a little bit different. So we're going to be talking about the Leprechaun franchise. We're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about the original Leprechaun, and then we're going to be talking about Leprechaun Origins, which I thought was the most recent one, but I found out it is not. Leprechaun Returns came after, but this is what we watched, so fuck it. And I'm probably glad that we watched Leprechaun Origins over Leprechaun Returns, which I'll get to in a minute. So instead of us drinking bourbon as we usually do, tonight we're going to crack open some cans of Guinness, and we're going to do some Irish whiskey shots. So I have this here proper 12 Irish whiskey right here. I've never had this before, so we will see how this goes.
Is that what you're drinking?
Proper 12, baby.
Yeah, just look up. You're not looking up.
Oh
look
shit,
up.
You got proper 12 too. Oh fuck. You know what? So I was,
it's gonna be crazy.
I was distracted because my cat was on my lap, and I knew he was getting ready to jump, and when he did, he scratched me really deep. So that happened in while we
in that 2 seconds. I'm trying to throw this proper 12 right through the screen.
I was looking at my injury is what I was looking at. How much blood is coming from my legs.
I think you're gonna love it. It's I choose this every single time over any other Irish whiskey. I love it.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I usually go for Jameson, but this actually was a buck cheaper, so that's why I went with this. And we're gonna do things a little bit different. We usually do a drinking game when we rate these films, and usually it's like Jerry drinks the number of sips, I rate a movie. But I have a really good feeling we're gonna rate both these movies pretty low. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. So instead of that, when we do our ratings, we're gonna do a shot of Irish whiskey, and that's it. That's why it's out. So
oh Lord. Okay. I mean, I have a shot glass here. I don't know why I brought it. I was told to bring a shot glass, but I guess I know why. Yeah. So, what Guinness did you get there? What do you got?
I don't know that there's more than I
No,
didn't know
no,
there
no.
was
Did
more
you get
than
the
one
can,
Guinness.
the bottle?
Oh yeah,
Oh my God, we're drinking the same exact thing
right.
tonight. This is
Cheers.
the first time we're drinking the same exact thing. So I say we crack these open for a little AMSMR here and just really let it crack. Ready?
And that's the one thing about Guinness is that crack is nice.
Oh man, that foam is popping right now. It's looking creamy and delicious. I can't wait to get into this. Anyone who listens to the show would know that we're really not beer drinkers. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This is either going to be a huge mistake like the last time when we drank those 40 ounces, which I had to call in sick the next day to work. But hopefully tonight is not the same effect.
Yeah, so if you missed that episode, that was the Friday the 13th episode where we did drink 40s. I had some malt liquor. And if you didn't listen to that, I actually do not like beer at all. Like I never drink beer. I probably haven't had a beer in years. However, Guinness does come in a 4-pack when you get the cans. And I was like, you know what? Let me just see what I'm in the mood for. Like I see what I'm getting ready for. Like so that way I know, if I need to call in sick the next day. So I tried some, and I'll be honest, I actually enjoyed it. So I'm gonna take a sip right now and see.
Yeah, me too, man. Cheers. Happy St.
Cheers.
Patrick's Day. Woo!
Yeah, I'll be honest. I am feeling Guinness, and I kind of wish I didn't like it because now I'm gonna be drinking it. But it's smooth. It doesn't have that I don't know, that beer taste to me. It is like I think you described it as like bitter, definitely bitter in the aftertaste.
Yeah, definitely better.
And it's definitely 10 seconds after you drink it, it starts to get gross, but like while you're drinking it, it's actually pretty pleasurable. So I'm into this, and I know it says you're supposed to pour it in a glass. I don't have a glass with me, so I'm gonna drink it straight out the can.
I'm going to drink it out of the can as well. And Guinness really reminds me of my youth. I used to do a lot of underage drinking for anyone who wants to know. And I used to work next door to this Irish pub, and I used to hang out with some older people. So we used to go to this Irish pub, play a little foosball, and while we were there, they would sneak me a pint of Guinness and stuff like that. And I remember just like chugging it as like a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, and it just has such a distinct taste. And every time I taste it, it really brings me back. It's like the most bitter of like espresso beans and chocolatey a little bit, and definitely best when it's icy cold. So
Oh.
if we're milking these, then we're just going to pay that price because you need to kind of drink it while it's cold.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what right now, if I like ever have to drink another beer again, like I'm going Guinness, I'm going stout because yeah,
Mm.
I am enjoying this. We'll see how I feel when I get towards the end of this beer and when I crack the second one, we'll see if I'm still enjoying it, but I'm enjoying it now. Did you how'd you feel about black and tans? Because I remember I used to drink those a
So
lot.
I hated Harp. I have a taste I liked, and that's the traditional beer that they would mix it with. Like when you went to like these traditional Irish places, I'm sure there's other beers that you could mix it with, but I didn't like it, you know. To me, I don't. I mean, I probably liked beer a lot more back then, but I definitely had a taste, you know. And that taste was a 40 ounce. So,
Yeah,
so yeah, black and tan wasn't my thing. I don't know about you.
no, I used to like them. I used to get them, and
Oh, really?
I don't know if I would get them just because I thought they were cool. But I did used to like them, except they would fuck up my stomach something terrible. Like I could only have a couple of those before I wasn't doing too well.
So I want you to know what I did here. Not only do I have this Guinness right here, but I also poured a little bit of the proper 12 on ice,
Oh
just
shit!
to kind of like, you know, in case I want to switch back and forth, in case I get a little bit bored of talking about Leprechaun. I have
You
I
really
have
gonna
this
get
drink
bored
here
about
too.
talking about Leprechaun?
I
So
mean,
it's
I don't know what's gonna happen.
so I said last week, our last episode, when we were like saying what we're going to talk about, I said I never saw any of the Leprechaun movies. That is actually wrong. I did see the original, like when I was a kid in theaters. I just blocked it out of my mind, and I think I know why. But I have seen that one before, but I've never seen, and apparently there are 8 films in the Leprechaun franchise. There is one where Leprechaun goes to space. There's two in the Hood. There's I don't know, a bunch of different sequels. And I did watch parts two and parts three, which I'll get into a
What?
little bit later. Yeah,
Would you like really get into this?
so I like, I was taking edibles and I was like, I just wanted to be able to talk. Here's the thing. I was like scared you were gonna come up with some drinking game trivia question. And I was like, I better at
Oh,
least watch some of the movies. And
oh,
so I did.
I do have a drinking game, but
I had a bad feeling about that.
shockingly, it's not about Leprechaun, but
Thank God.
It's Leprechaun adjacent. So you'll find out after we discuss the first Leprechaun.
All right, I'm
So,
glad it is not about the films because while I did watch two and three as well as the two we're going to talk about, I remembered nothing about it because I was high. I was high as fuck. So like I can't really
I don't remember anything about the first one. So maybe we
Okay,
should just cut this episode right now
good. Should we just
and
drink
just
the
talk
Guinness
about
and
these beers and let's just see how the episode goes. If we just like drink and talk shit and see if people still listen to that, or if we really do have to discuss a horror film.
Yeah, because I don't know how we're going to spend an hour talking about Leprechaun, but we're going to try. We're going to try.
We're gonna try.
So
We're definitely gonna try.
all right, so I'm gonna like set this one up. This is Leprechaun
Go
from
ahead.
1993. I'll give you the plot really quick. The plot is Dan O'Grady steals 100 gold coins from a leprechaun while on vacation in Ireland. The
Wait,
leprechaun
hold on. What
follow.
happened?
Yeah, he was on
This sounds
vacation.
made up.
I mean, this is what the this is what IMDb is
This
telling
is insane.
me.
Can't talk about this movie. That never happened. We can't.
Okay,
I'm only fucking with
so I'm like, did it happen? I don't know. Now I'm starting to question my
you.
own.
No, it totally did. It totally
Okay,
did.
okay,
No, it did.
okay. So anyway, this guy steals a bunch of steals a bunch of gold coins from a leprechaun. Leprechaun follows him home to get those coins back. Dan, the thief, locks the leprechaun in a cage, which he puts a four-leaf clover on top of it, which is, I guess, the only weapon against leprechaun in this
Mm,
film. Then 10 years later, JD and his daughter Tori rent the property for the summer. They accidentally unleash the leprechaun who wants his gold coins back.
wow. I mean, so many questions involved there. I mean, I didn't realize this guy was on vacation. And second of all, did the leprechaun take the same flight home as O'Grady did? Like did he fly like first class? Was he just trying to like lay low? There's a lot of plot holes in this film, and we didn't even start talking about it yet.
You know what's funny? And you say that, and I didn't even think of that. And the leprechaun cannot teleport, as we learned, since he uses a
Yeah,
variety of vehicles throughout the movie, which like was a
vehicles. Yeah,
really interesting thing. So like, and at first it was kind of funny, and then like after like the sick,
it
like
was very funny.
he's on a tricycle, he's on like a wheelchair, he's on like a kid's toy car. But it happened like 6 or 7 times where he's on like a different motorized thing that only a leprechaun could
Love
ride.
it.
So the fact that he can't teleport means he had to have maybe he snuck off on a boat. I guess he could have taken a boat.
Maybe, yeah, boat. Maybe snuck in some luggage. I mean, he is a leprechaun, so and I think that really kind of sets the tone of like what this film is. Is like you really can't take it like too seriously. You really can't like kind of dive too deep into like what it's really about because it doesn't really make too much sense. But I think I never saw this film. I really didn't. Um,
Lucky.
yeah. And I think it's just because I don't like things like this. It's not that I don't like monster movies and things like that. I don't like corny thing. I don't know how to explain it. Like something like a Leprechaun. I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to watch that. It's stupid." So I never watched it. And I have to be honest with you, when I first turned it on, it was better than I had thought because I thought this was going to be like a D level film, and it actually looked pretty good. I mean, like someone really took this seriously when they made this film. Like they were trying to make like the best film that they could possibly make, and it does look good. And they casted a young Jennifer Aniston, and I mean that this is insane that this is who was in this film when you actually watch this film, and she's like very good in this film.
Yeah, so a couple things on that. So the budget was $1 million, so it was not cheap for the
Wow.
90s. And it ended up like grossing 8.5 million in the box office and then did another 15 million on like home video. But yeah, so it cast
Huge
this is
success.
Jennifer Aniston's first role in a film, and this actually was a year before Friends. So like it took off as soon as it got to home video. Like she was obviously very popular from Friends, and that's when the movie really took off. And apparently, like the studio did not want to cast her because they wanted someone blonde, like they wanted a Valley girl, and the director fought to
Mm.
put her in it because she thought she'd be really good. And I think if she wasn't in this movie, it would not have had the cult status that it ended up having. And yeah, like what you said, it's like this isn't my kind of movie either at all because I could do a horror comedy and I'm okay with that. But I didn't feel like this was funny. It was just kind of corny, like you said. And like,
Corny.
there's
Yeah.
lots of one-liners and jokes and there's a lot of goofy shit in it.
Oh,
And look, I went in not taking this seriously, like thinking like, I'm just gonna like enjoy the ride. But for me, like again, to really enjoy it, like it has to at least be kind of funny. And look, the movie was 1993, so maybe it's just really dated, but it was hard to kind of really get into it. And I'll be honest, I don't know how they made 8 of these movies. Like this, like and I did watch part two and part three, and they're like very similar to this, just a lot lower budget. So like even
oh my God.
cornier and
So
even
it's
like
gonna get worse.
shittier. They get worse.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, after the second one, which the second one had a theatrical release and it bombed, um, they kept making these, and I guess again the home video market, people would rent them. There is an audience for this. Like this reminds me of basically every shitty movie you see on Tubi now that people just keep churning out. And I always watch these movies and I'm thinking, who watches this? Like I 5 minutes, I'm like, this is just stupid. But there are people that get into it, and I like bad movies. I know you like bad movies, but like to me,
I I like bad movies, but I like I like a bad movie that's not like silly. You know what I'm saying? I like it if they're taking it seriously and there aren't like one-liners, and if it's a slasher, it's a slasher. If it's a monster, it's a monster. And this kind of had like a little bit touch of everything. And I'm gonna tell you what this reminded me of a lot. Like this reminded me a lot of like Child's Play,
mm,
and that is not my type of movie at all. And you can send your hate mail. I don't understand the type of people who like Child's Play. I don't understand that type of horror. It's like really low on scares, has again a lot of stupid like one-liners, and the kills are sometimes they're okay, but most of the time they're just stupid to fit whatever the character can perform, such as a leprechaun or a doll or something like that.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's just not my type of movie, but I'll tell you what. After I had a few drinks, I did enjoy it a little bit more, and I started getting into it. Like midway through, I'm like, this is not terrible. I found myself, laughing a little bit, like maybe a guffaw, maybe a little like smirk or a little, But it definitely kind of grew on me. So maybe there should have been like some sort of um information up front, like, you should be under the influence of X, X, and X to enjoy this film,
Or at least the
because
right
I
number of
just,
drinks. Like you need to have 4 drinks
yeah,
before you press
four
play on
drinks
this.
before you enjoy it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a few things though. So like when the leprechaun comes to life, it was just driving me crazy that they just would not like show this leprechaun. It was like so dark. It was always like a weird angle, and it was always like some sort of like little bit of movement to get him out of frame and stuff like that. I'm like, this is the star of the movie. It's called Leprechaun, and you're not showing the goddamn leprechaun. And then they show the leprechaun, and then I'm like, shit, I wish they never showed the leprechaun because it looked dumber than I thought it was going to look, right? Did you think the leprechaun was going to look good? I really thought the leprechaun was going to
No,
look good.
I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, it was hard to take him seriously, like with that makeup. And apparently, it took 3 hours to get that makeup on, so it wasn't like they just slapped something together. But yeah, I mean, it was hard to kind of like take it seriously at that point. And I think the other piece of it too, it's like again, the movie is all over the place, and one of the reasons why is it was originally planned to be a straight up horror movie. And the director and the actor Warwick Davis really wanted it to be more of a
Mm.
comedy. So they ended up like
Oh,
going back and like they argued with the producers about it who wanted a horror movie and like the director wanted a horror comedy. And then they had to like go back and reshoot a bunch of stuff. And then it was too comedic, so then they had to go back and shoot and add more gore. So it was a bit of a mess just making the movie in general, which is why it does tonally feel all over the place because it's again it's really hokey and silly. It is kind of gory in some parts and it is a little violence.
oh
I
yeah.
think what it needed though, it needed some scares, and there's no nothing scary in this movie at all. And like I think that would have helped it work better in my opinion. I mean, because it is dark, like, but it's really fucking goofy, and the characters are goofy. Like again, the reason why two of the main characters try to steal the leprechaun's gold is because the one guy is like mentally challenged, I guess, and they want to get him
Yeah.
fix it. They want to fix his brain and get him a brain surgery so he's smarter. Like it's just like stupid. Like it makes no
It
sense.
was, I mean, it it was definitely a problematic
Yeah.
plot line in 2025. Yeah, it was a little weird. I did find the kid Alex extremely annoying, like I do find most 8 or 9 year olds in any sort of horror film. Again, I don't know why who enjoys that type of acting. I'm an adult, and one of the benefits of being old should be I should be watching adult actors and watching some fucked up shit and not having to deal with these things. And there's always like some kid and he's stupid and he really didn't bring anything to the film for me. And then there's the guy Ozzy who is the autistic guy, and I don't know how that character was played. I don't know if they did it properly or not. I'm not going to dive into that
Yeah.
element of it. I don't know what they were doing with that, but he definitely kind of leans into that type of character where he doesn't kind of know what he's doing and he's making mistakes and like everyone's just kind of
He's a
poking fun at
goofball.
him and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So it's like I don't know if I like that. I think obviously Warwick Davis, he was huge, in the 90s, well known. So I could see why he had a big say in this, and I think he was the leprechaun in most of them, right?
I believe
Like
in the
he
first
he is
few.
the
Yeah.
he is the
Yeah.
leprechaun, yeah.
Up
Like he
until
is,
like Origins and Returns, I believe he was in every movie.
yeah. So I mean, he's like in six of them, so it's like they're kind of committed to him. But honestly, if I thought Jennifer Aniston, the Tory character, and Nathan, who was like the young kind of like love interest, I thought they were
The
pretty.
buff Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon.
yeah, yeah. He was like I think they really held the movie together, and they did a lot of dumb things that teens would do. So that I found that like humorous, where they're just trying to come up with these like weird plots to like, how to deal with this leprechaun and trying to think of like what they know about leprechauns and if that lore would fit in helping it. So I thought like some things like that were kind of funny. Um, I did like in the beginning though when the leprechaun gets on that pogo stick. Do you remember that kill? That
Yeah,
was probably
yeah.
one of that was probably one of the coolest kills I would say in the entire film, where someone gets killed with a pogo stick, and I could honestly say I didn't see that coming. And after I saw it, I'd be like, damn, I never saw that before in a movie.
Yeah, and it kind of made you think like, oh, this is going to be like a pretty dark fucking movie, and they
Yeah.
shot that kind of in like a slow motion, which was effective,
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
reason why is because the stunt double that was on the pogo stick was having trouble using it, so like
Oh.
he couldn't, yeah, he couldn't like jump more than like 2 or 3 times, so they did
You
that in slow motion. Which
gotta
I've
practice on that shit.
have you ever been on a pogo stick? I have, and
I
it's
have
not
been on a
easy.
pogo stick.
It's
Yeah,
not easy.
I used to have one, man. I used to love that shit. I don't know. I don't remember if I was good or not with it, but yeah,
I'm gonna say you
I,
probably weren't, but
well, I never thought about taking anyone out with one. I'll tell you that. I mean,
yeah, it's one
maybe I
thing to
need to go
jump on the
find it.
street. It's another thing to jump on a guy's chest. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
gotta
mean,
take a look in my garage, see if I still have it.
it's funny too. I'm just looking at my notes of this movie, and one thing is like, there's a lot of shots of people's sneakers, and especially like
Oh,
Jennifer Aniston's LA
LA
gear,
Gear.
uh, mid tops, and like I remember, I'm like, why are they showing all this? This is like a foot fetish thing, and apparently this is, and it probably is a foot fetish thing. But the director said he wanted it to look like you were seeing from the leprechaun's point of view, which doesn't make any sense because
Oh,
he's short, but he's not like inches
he's not
tall.
like foot length.
Yeah.
I thought it was sponsored by LA
No.
Gear.
So actually, so it wasn't. And apparently, everybody's sneakers are meant to represent the character. So like, Ozzy's got like Chuck Taylor All Stars, like Alex has Reeboks, and apparently, I don't know much about what sneakers were in 1993, but they tried to tailor the sneakers to each character as like a thing. But like, who the fuck's gonna pick up on that? Like, I just thought it
Well,
was like you
I
said.
could.
I thought it was product placement, and it wasn't apparently.
It wasn't. Well, I could tell you one thing. Only the hottest girls wore LA Gear in the 90s. So now we know. From what I remember.
It was just so funny. I was like, wow, this looks dated just by those LA Gear
Yeah,
sneakers. I was
I was like, why do they keep showing the LA Gear sneakers? I'm like, did they pay for like I don't someone would want their product placed in this Leprechaun movie. I'm like, especially LA Gear, because I just don't feel like LA Gear only made women's sneakers, and I just don't think that that's their audience. I feel like their audience is probably 13-year-old boys,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
no female was going to see Leprechaun, and maybe they're, I mean, maybe they watch it now, but yeah, I mean, the movie, it's
Maybe the
definitely,
90s, nothing else was in the theater, so maybe you went to go see it. But I can't picture anyone like saying, "Let's go see," like a group of girls saying of all the films what that would be out. It's like, I did Pulp Fiction come out in '93? Like, I just don't know if I'm going to go see Leprechaun.
I did. So, I don't, but I was probably a 13-year-old boy when it came out. Another note I had is, okay, so they're moving into this house, which is a complete
Mm.
shithole. It's covered in dust, disgusting. But before they clean the inside, they paint the outside, like, which made no sense to me. Like they're painting the outside of the house this ugly blue and like red color, and
Red.
but the inside is like covered in shit and dust and like probably like toxic. But it's just funny. It's like,
Yeah.
why are you wasting time like on the outside of the house? Like you're gonna live in this house. Like, don't you want to get the inside done first? But
And you could tell these people were definitely like from LA, and they were coming from some sort of like Beverly Hills type area,
yeah, because she's
and
like
they're moving into like
snobby
this,
and
yeah, this shack essentially. And I did watch this with my wife, and she was basically like yelling at the TV. She's like, "The fuck they paint in this house?" She's like, "You can't even walk around in there. There's no I don't think there was electricity. I'm not sure." Then they're going in the basement. Why are you going in the basement? That is literally not day one shit. Going in the basement, like,
yeah.
oh, let's clean out the basement. That is like day 50, day 60.
I'm
You
gonna clean
know,
out my bedroom
you would have
first,
to
like
like
or the
yeah, you
kitchen,
get a bedroom, the kitchen, like things that you would actually use. Instead, they're painting it. And they had to hire together this team, which is, I guess, how they introduced all these other characters. And like, why'd they go with like blue and red? Like, there's just no way. And why was Tori helping them paint? Like, I
Yeah.
have so many questions about why this was even happening, and I don't know. I guess it was like the banana peel for them to introduce the leprechaun that was like hiding underneath the Jeep, and Ozzy sees it, and of course they're like, he don't know,
Yeah.
you
He's
know,
different.
he's different, so he's just seeing shit or whatever. But I mean, he's like your hired employee, and if he tells you he saw something, and they're like, no way, man. But he was right. There was something underneath there, and it's funny, like, oh, it's a possum. It's like attacked Tori, didn't it, or one
Yeah,
of
like bit
them,
her,
or
it like bit her
yeah,
leg or something.
bitter. Yeah. Like, oh, that must have been a raccoon. Yeah, all right.
So two things on that. One is I like was like, why are they painting the house this ugly color? And the
Yeah.
director said he wanted the movie to look very cartoony, so he wanted these bright colors, which okay, whatever.
Damn.
And the reason why, Jennifer Aniston was helping is because she, wanted to fuck buff Kevin Bacon. I mean, that's the reason why.
Yeah. You know what, man? You see, this is the difference between you and I. I see something stupid and I just go, man, that's fucking stupid. And then you see something stupid and you're like, why'd they do that? And then you go and find out. So thank you for adding color to these situations, because I'm sitting here just mad about it, not even thinking that I should do some sort of research for this podcast and maybe enlighten the audience of why they would do something so stupid. And you did it. So thanks for
Yeah.
that. I appreciate that, because I was just mad. I was like,
It no,
this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
See, the problem with me is like I get fixated on these like really dumb things and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm just like, out of all the colors in the world to paint the house, why are they painting it these ugly colors that
Yeah.
like no one would paint a house? And it just drove me nuts. I'm like, I gotta find out. So like, because otherwise I'd still be like, what the fuck? Like I would like, yeah, I can't focus on normal tasks, but like these little things
Just,
get
just
in
a
my
little,
head.
yeah, get caught up in that was messing me up. And definitely happy now that I know the situation. So I do want to kind of move into a scene that you did mention a little earlier, which I did find a lot of humor in, and that's when the leprechaun was driving some sort of electric or toy car down the highway, and
Yes.
it's just so funny. Like, it looked really, really funny when he was like driving down the road. It was like some sort of like mountain road. It was like curvy and shit. And I don't know why that struck me as being so funny. But like when the police started chasing him, I just found so much humor in that. I'm like, you know what? Now that's humor. Not these stupid one-liners, not like all these like kind of gag corny things. I'm like, that's funny. I'm like, I wish they did more things like that, because that's actually what I enjoyed in this film. Like, I did like, obviously, the kills probably the most, because I was
Yeah.
watching this for the horror elements. But I could definitely deal with some humor in my horror, and I liked when they did that. I just thought it was really funny.
Yeah, and again, like there were moments where, yeah, it was kind of like I got it, like I got the joke and things like that. I just felt like I don't know what the movie. It's just a weird tone for me where it was like funny but not funny. Other than again a couple of these parts where you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of clever, like that's kind of, but it just overall was just so again goofy. It was hard for me to like really enjoy it. Maybe next time again I'll have more like four more beers than I did this time, but
More drugs, alcohol, things like that to kind of
yeah.
set the mood. So what I want to say, and I don't know if this is like an unconventional thought, and a lot of people say I'm like this, but I have to side with the goddamn leprechaun. These people stole 100 of his gold coins. Now, I'm not sure what the gram weight was of these gold coins, but they had 100 of them. And in 93, I think gold was pretty strong back then. So I'm gonna say just basic, I'm high level, just guessing here, estimate. They stole $100,000 of this leprechaun's money, and he's not supposed to be mad. He's not supposed to go after it. I think they were all wrong. And I think whatever happened to him, they shouldn't have stole it. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry.
And look,
I'm a
I agree with you
contrarian.
there. No, I agree because like at one point in the movie they try to give him back his gold, only it's missing one coin. And the
I knew I
leprechaun
saw that coming. Yeah, I knew
but the
it.
leprechaun was fine. He got his gold and he left them alone. He was like, "Okay, thanks. Like I'm out." Like so if they just gave it back to him right
They
away,
just
like
gave it
none of
back.
these things would have happened. So, it wasn't like he was just like gonna get the gold back and they killed him anyway. Like he just wanted it. Like he just give him back his
Yeah,
fucking gold. So
these greedy fucks. I don't care what the reason was. I don't care who they were trying to help. It was not theirs to take. It was the leprechauns, and he deserved to get it back. Just like if someone took $100,000 from you, you would be pretty mad about it, you know? I mean, if you had leprechaun skills and supernatural powers, maybe you'd go about it in a different way. But I have to side with him, and I was not mad. I was like, good, get him, man. I hope you get your coins back because they just stole them from you. They stole them.
So what ends up happening is Jennifer Aniston gives the leprechaun his sack of coins, which has 99 instead of 100 because Ozzy apparently swallowed the 100th coin.
Hmm.
And the leprechaun is pissed because he thinks they tricked him and he comes back to get that coin. And, he basically thinks like I could just rip open this guy's stomach and get it, but
Yeah.
I mean, there are other ways to get that coin out,
I mean, you gotta wait.
I mean, I think if they would have reasoned with him and said, "Look, buddy, like, here's the thing, like, we're gonna colon cleanse Ozzy, and you will get your coin." They didn't have to kill him, like, they didn't have to kill the leprechaun, like, they could have just like
How
talked to him
about
about it. He seemed reasonable. He did seem reasonable.
he was reasonable, and I bet if they gave Ozzy like 4 or 5 Guinnesses, that coin would have came out a lot quicker than what we had imagined. And maybe if they did try to, reason with this leprechaun and be like, hey, we got your coins, we got some Guinness. Why don't we just sit around this fire and just wait and see what happens? And I'm gonna be honest, I think the leprechaun would have been really, really cool with that, but they did not.
It's funny when you say that like, oh, all they need to do is like wait, or that would have taken longer. I wrote a note on this one scene in particular, and like the leprechaun is basically trying to kill everybody in the house, and they
Hmm.
realize that the guy O'Grady, who was the original thief, is in like a rest home, and
Oh yeah.
he's the only one that knows how to kill the leprechaun. So while the leprechaun is trying to kill everybody, Jennifer Aniston gets in her car, drives to the old folks' home, talks to the guy, finds out like how to kill the leprechaun, drives back. Like it's like all these things happen. It's like that had to have taken like an hour or two.
At
Like,
least an hour, hour and a
yeah.
half. I mean, they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, she just moved there. How'd she even know how to get there? There was no
Yeah.
map quest.
No
Like
GPS.
nothing. Like had she know, like, oh, the old people's home. I moved here yesterday. I know exactly where that is. And I think, the method to banish the leprechaun was pretty far-fetched, finding a four-leaf clover. And if any 5-year-old who been out in the field looking for four-leaf clover should know that that shit's fucking impossible. You can't find one. Okay, you can't. And then Jennifer Aniston had the nerve, she had the gall to pull the car over with just the headlights and look in a dark field trying to find a four-leaf clover. That I was like, here we go. Here's the biggest banana peel of this film because she's gonna like reach her hand down and just pick one up. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And again, anyone who's ever tried to find a four-leaf clover, it's impossible.
What's funny? When we like talk about the scenes in the movie, they sound much funnier than they are. Like to describe this movie, it sounds like real camp and just like a blast, but like it just there's something in the execution of it where it's
Is it
not.
the pacing? I think it's the pacing, maybe. Like a lot of the stuff, like it didn't land. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that could have been funny, and they could have like exaggerated the fact that she was looking for four-leaf clover, and they could have exaggerated the fact how they wanted to like remove this coin from Ozzy, but they didn't. They didn't lean into those areas. I think they were just trying to like get it on film and just keep moving with it, and that's what it felt like. It felt like they were just moving from like scene to scene to scene, and I think a lot of the jokes probably didn't land. Maybe if you're a huge fan of this film. So I guess I must have been talking about this film a lot or something like that. So of course, like the next day when I'm like scrolling through my social media feed, I found some sort of fan page for the Leprechaun movie, and I joined it
Oh
just to kind of
shit.
see like yeah, just to kind of see like what was happening on there. And there are people they love this film. So shout out to the Leprechaun lovers group. If you guys are listening, I gave you guys a shout out. So check out this podcast and give us some love. But tell us, send us a message or send us an email of what you love about this particular movie, because I just think once everything is revealed, I really don't think the jokes would land. Like we're watching this almost for the first time, even though you said you saw it, you don't remember
No,
it
it's like
like
30
from
years ago. Yeah.
15, yeah, 30 years ago. You're not going to remember it. So it is like the first time you're seeing it. I think once you know the joke, I don't think it's going to land.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they made 8 of these, so there is an audience for it. And I know sense of humor is like subjective. So like just because I don't find it funny doesn't mean someone else doesn't find it hysterical.
Well, I
Like
didn't.
yeah, I
So
didn't
that's
find
two people.
I didn't find it funny either. But it does again on paper, it sounds really funny. And I think it's like you said, I don't know if it's the pacing or how they set up the scenes or the jokes, but this movie actually has a lot more potential than I think it would have because it is stupid. But it needed someone different making it maybe with a different like director or a different writer. This could have
Mm,
been really cool. Again, it's still Leprechaun, right? So it's like it's not going to be like great, but like they could have made a good bad movie, I think, and I don't think they did, or at least it's not one that I enjoyed. And again, this one I did not like. The second and third one were even like worse. Like just and the same exact movie, just the same like they just felt like these like anything you see on Tubi where you're like, what is this shit? Like that's what it
yeah.
was. Like it just felt like
Oh God.
yeah. So anyway, so
I
let's sorry, go ahead.
I forgot where I was going to go with that, but yeah, it's all right. I just want to say I don't think we're going to be spoiling anything really with the ending of this film, but as dumb and as stupid as this movie was, I think the only thing that could have been dumber and stupider was the way that they actually killed the
Yeah.
leprechaun. It was so far-fetched and so impossible that I was like, this is like you couldn't have ended it more dumber, and they did. So it was really, really bad ending as well. So it didn't even like after everything else, they didn't even bring it home. It didn't even land. It's
Yeah.
like you watch this like nonsense for like an hour and a half, and it's like, all right, maybe it's gonna have a good ending. Nope,
Yeah.
bomb that
So
too.
so again, the way to kill the leprechaun is like you put a four-leaf clover on him, which okay, fine. But like the thing is like they never really establish what the leprechaun is. Like he's not supernatural. He's like
Yeah,
a creature that can do magic when he has his gold. So he could be killed, I would think, like he's not immortal or maybe I don't know. It's hard to kind of tell like
it's hard to
what
tell. Yeah,
actually he was. And I don't even think that they knew. I think they like I really don't. I think they just kind of like just throwing shit together and like let's
fleshing
make
it
a
out.
movie.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, like
yeah.
I don't think they really established like usually when you would make a movie like this, you would write down Leprechaun. Okay, here's like the lore of the Leprechaun,
Here's
or
the
like
lore,
here,
and
and I don't think they did that exercise. I think they were just like, oh, this is a good way to do it. So like I remember thinking the whole movie, I'm questioning like again is what is his magic like what can he do what can he do because it seemed like at first he couldn't do certain things and then he could and like I know they explained it like when he gets closer to the gold he gets more powers but even then it was
yeah, it's
unclear like he like can manipulate people's voices like but like it was just odd like I think they needed to describe more like what his powers actually are like so it was understood early on in the movie instead of being like because again like he turns into this like indestructible kind of thing which it didn't seem like he was early on like he gets trapped in a box because you put a four-leaf clover on top of it like okay.
yeah, yeah. Again, all very, very thin, and they slingshot, they slingshot a four-leaf clover into his mouth. So in case no one heard that, it was a slingshot. So somebody had this in 1993. I don't know who has this with them, and
A redneck boy I guess
four-leaf clover really wouldn't have the distance to really
well he put it on a
or
piece of
the
gum
aim.
he put it on a piece of gum I think
Yeah,
yeah And
Yeah, I
before,
can't. It's getting worse, Rich. You're not helping them with that, like a piece of gum. Damn, damn, it's getting worse. Okay, I mean, it was so silly, and I'm like, it's okay to be silly. I'm like, but this is, it's lazy. I don't know. It was just lazy.
okay, before we wrap it up though, I will say the silliest thing in the movie was this doesn't stop Leprechaun, but it does slow him down, and I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. Was every time the Leprechaun sees shoes, he needs to shine them.
Yeah,
So he's about to kill everybody, and they just throw a bunch of shoes at him, and he has to stop what he's doing to shine the shoes. And now I'll be honest, I don't really know jack shit about leprechauns, but even if that's part of the folklore of a leprechaun, it was really dumb. And that was just
yeah. I don't.
like all you gotta do is throw sneakers, and he'll forget about his gold. Like he just like, oh, I gotta shine these because like I'm a leprechaun. That and they it happens like a couple of times in the movie, so
Yeah,
it was like a bit much.
I blocked that out. I remember now that you said that.
Yeah.
Now that you're saying it, I kind of remember that. I think I blocked it out. I do remember that scene where they're just kind of throwing shoes at him, so Jennifer Aniston could escape to go to the retirement home to speak to O'Grady. And I mean, come on, that was so bad. Oh my God, this is a bad movie. And
Yeah.
well, what I'm really trying to say is everyone should really just take the time to St. Patrick's Day and watch it.
Yeah. And drink four Guinnesses and take a shot of Irish whiskey
Just have a
liqueur.
couple Guinnesses. Yeah. Yeah. Just do that and I think you'll enjoy it more. Yeah, it's not my type of film. I
Okay,
didn't
so
love
what
it.
what would you give it scale of 0 to 5 bloody knives?
I would give this I would give it a one. It just wasn't for me. There's nothing I liked about it. I thought it was dumb dialogue, dumb storyline, dumb characters. There's nothing. There's no redeeming qualities. I give it a one. It's not a zero. I mean, it's a one.
Yeah, I give it a 1 too, and I think the only thing I did think was good was the gore is pretty good. They did a good job with the makeup.
Mm.
So I'm gonna give it a 1 too. So we're gonna do one shot
What? Oh
of
my God, that's
Irish
what we're gonna. Oh,
whiskey.
that's how this is working.
That's
Okay,
how
here
this
I'm
is
gonna.
working. And I'm pouring my whoops, I should have done that on camera. Pouring my proper 12 shot right here.
Damn.
Whew,
All right, mine's
it
gonna look
smells like
small, but I
whiskey.
have a double shot glass.
Sure you
So
do.
I do. It's big. It's huge.
You poured a
See how big it
leprechaun
is?
a leprechaun sized shot there.
This thing is huge,
All right,
but it's a
cheers.
double. This is gonna hurt. Cheers.
Oh,
Oh my God. We don't do a lot of shots on this show.
I don't do a lot of shots, period. Okay, so I will say I do like this proper 12. It has like and I don't know if this is from the Guinness, but it's got like a chocolate taste to it.
Really, I'm getting a very grassy, mossy kind of taste from it. But
Oh, I'm getting chocolate. I did have this bottle in the fridge, so mine is a little colder than
mm,
yours probably. I'm sorry, it's in the
nice. Well,
freezer.
you know what? How about this? I'm gonna take a sip of the one I have on ice right now.
All
Let
right,
me tell you about it.
let me know what you think. Woo!
Oh man, you have to drink this on ice, man. This is like drinking delicious alcohol flavored water. It's just so smooth and nice, and it doesn't have a powerful taste. It's a very light taste, very light burn. Once it's in ice, super, super smooth. It doesn't have a lot of taste. I'm gonna be honest with you. The taste is all in that shot. I'm not really tasting anything. I'm just getting a little bit of alcohol.
As
It's
you sip it,
so
that's interesting because
easy.
the
This
shot like had
is
a lot of flavor for me, but I also took a lot at once, so I have to try sipping it. But
this is
I picked up a
so
lot of
easy to
flavors.
drink. I'm gonna say it. It's dangerous. It's
I
drink.
like the bottle too. It's
So I
just
think
like it's real dark color. It just looks cool.
it's nice, and it's Conor McGregor's brand, so that's pretty cool. I mean, at least
He
he's
owns it?
dedicated. Yeah, I believe he
Oh,
does. Yeah, this
I didn't
is
know that.
this. He's got to be a part owner at least. He's
Right, right.
do all the commercials for it. I don't know if he still owns it, but I know he used to. So I think now would be a great time after we did that shot to like
Oh,
move into a
fuck.
little drinking game
All right.
that I put together here. So we're about to talk about Leprechaun Origins. And this is a 2014 film. And when I was watching it, it felt shockingly not like the Leprechaun we just saw, but it felt like a real 2014 film. And it got me thinking, man, I liked a lot of films from
Oh
2014.
no.
Do you see where this is going?
Usually I do
So
well with
I
these,
put,
but however, I have Guinness and I just did a shot, so we'll see how well I do.
yeah.
But yeah, I see where this is going.
So I put together a little list to see how strong 2014 was in the horror world, and it was good. And I made this little game called Was It 2014?
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. I think you probably know how to play, but for anyone who's never joined us before, I'm gonna name some films, and it's gonna be super simple. Rich just has to guess if it was the year 2014 or not. If he gets it right, I'm going to take a sip of this delicious Guinness. If it's wrong, he's going to take a sip of Guinness. And then at the end, we'll save one and we'll put the wager on it. And that wager will be another shot of the Irish
Oh,
whiskey.
okay. All right. Fuck it. All right, let's do it.
Okay, so oh, you're ready to play. You're down. You're going to play, huh?
I'm ready. I have a little less than half a can, so let's see what happens.
Okay, all right. It is St. Patrick's Day, so we're all Irish today, so let's do it. And
All right.
tomorrow, not going to worry about that. Okay, first film. First film. We're going to start with a bang here. The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
That is 2014. Nice. Jerry's drinking. I got that correct.
Ah, he got it right. Okay.
And I know that because I watched it recently, and that's why I know that.
Well, it's great because I put a lot of films in here that we watch all the time to make it really interesting and to kind of mess with you
Oh,
a
great.
little bit. So we did a whole episode on this film. How?
I'm gonna say no. That's 2016.
15. Very close, but you are correct.
What? When was it? I you cut out.
15.
Ah, damn. Okay. Well, either way, I got it right. Awesome.
You got it right. Only off by 1 year, but
All
yeah.
right.
Okay. All right. Now, Starry Eyes.
That is not 2014.
That is 2014.
Is it that came out that long ago?
Yes.
Holy shit. For some reason, that feels so much more recent. I love that movie, by the way. I've watched that
Yeah, it's
probably
good.
a dozen
Good.
times.
Good
I had no
film.
idea it was that old.
I have a lot of films in here that we watch all the time, and you're going to be blown away by the years. So it's going to be
Yeah, like
crazy.
wow, that was 11 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. How about this one? Zombievers. Now, I know we both love this film.
I'm gonna say how was 2015? Zombievers came out. I'm gonna say it is 2014.
God damn it, man. You're
Nice.
doing good.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking the Silent Night movie. That was after that. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
okay.
For some reason, I was getting that confused. Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. Three out of four.
Yep, doing good. The Babadook.
I'm gonna say not 2014.
It is 2014.
Damn, I hate that movie,
Yeah.
and only because of that fucking kid. If that kid was in
Yeah.
the movie, I think I would have liked it a lot better. That kid is so
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. I never got past 20 minutes of that film. Tried three
It's
times.
it's tough.
All right. Here's a fan favorite. The Purge Anarchy. Besides The Purge 2, for anyone who
Yeah,
doesn't know.
Purge 1, 2012. I'm gonna say it is 2014.
Man, you're doing
Nice.
good. You're doing good.
All right.
I thought I had enough Guinness, but I'm getting really low. I'm gonna have to crack one because we're only about halfway through.
You know me in the years, man. I'm good with the years.
I know, but
You know what the trick
same.
is? Like I can get all of these right. It doesn't matter. It's like who does well in the last one? Do I get the last one for
Yeah,
the shot? I could sip this Guinness all day, but that
all
shot's gonna
day, and
kill
then you
me.
gotta get the shot. Okay, here we go. Ready? Annabelle.
I'm gonna say not 2014.
It is.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, a lot. I told you, a lot of great films, man. I like Annabelle. I know you're not a huge fan, but I like it. I think they're good.
Not a huge fan, but that makes sense because I think The Conjuring was 2013 and that came out right after, so
Ah,
that makes sense.
all right, the Carrie remake.
I didn't even know there was one in the 2000s. I'm gonna say yes, 2014.
No.
Oh,
2013.
there you go. I didn't know.
All right. Green Room.
That is not 2014. 2016?
15. You're right there. You're like you're getting
Close.
me so close against like okay. So we're actually going to do a episode about this film
Oh shit.
tomorrow.
Okay.
uh Creep.
That is 2014.
It is. I threw you a softball there.
Yeah, yeah. And I only know that because when I was trying to like, so our special guest for the next episode chose that movie, and I wasn't sure if it was the Creep from 2014 or a different Creep, and I had to like
Hmm.
ask, which one is it? So that's the only reason why I would know that. Otherwise, I would have got that
And
wrong.
and I think I asked you too. I'm like, is it the Creep from 2014? So I figured I'd throw you a softball just in
Yeah.
case things weren't going well, but you're doing pretty well. I think you're about 60-40 right now at this point.
Okay. I'll take it.
Uh all right, only a couple more here. Cabin in the Woods. That's
I'm
tough
gonna
because it
say,
feels like a fresh film.
yeah, but I also did watch it a long time ago. I'm
Hmm.
gonna say it's not 2014 though.
You're correct. Yes.
Nice.
What year do you
When
think
was
it
it?
is?
I think it was 2013 actually.
11. It's
Oh, is
old.
that old? Wow.
Wow.
You know what though?
Yeah.
I slept on that movie because I didn't watch it when it came out because it looked stupid. And I remember I tried to watch it and I turned it off like 20 minutes in, and then like
Mm.
years later, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a chance. I love that movie. I just didn't get
I
the
love it. I
vibe.
saw it in
Now,
the
like,
theater twice.
oh wow, I didn't get the vibe, and now I
I loved it.
completely
Yeah.
get the vibe. Yeah, I love that movie.
I liked it a lot. Okay, so here we are. We're at the final question.
Here we go. And this is for a
And
shot.
this is it. This is for a shot. So I am going to pour my shot just in case so I don't lag
Same. I'll pour it. So
in the
I'm gonna drink it at some point.
yeah, so I don't lag in the recording to add
All
some
right.
extra editing that's unnecessary. So I
My
think I have
shot
a
is
good one
here.
here. Yeah, I think I
I'm gonna
do,
stare at
but
it for motivation. I'm gonna look at the shot. I do not want to drink yet. I do not want to drink yet.
sometimes things go my way, sometimes they do not. So if you're at home and you're putting some real money on this, because that's what I understand. A lot of people put some like real dollars on this, and Vegas gets involved with our games, trying to figure out who's going to win or lose, putting odds on you and I. So I would say for this one, it's 50-50. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm hoping I got a good one here, but I'm usually wrong. So for the last movie of Was It 2014, for one shot of Irish whiskey, the film is The Green Inferno.
Oh shit. You know, it's funny. I thought you were gonna say you're next for some reason. Green Inferno. I'm gonna say it was not 2014. Right now, Jerry looks like he's crying.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, nice. That was a
Oh,
guess. That was a complete
it's
guess.
2013. Here we
Ah.
go. All right. Well, fair and square. You won fair and square. So here you go. Cheers, man. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St.
Brutal.
Patrick's Day.
Oh my
You know, it's
God.
funny. I actually was gonna. I did have a like a quick drinking game for a shot, but I don't think I want to hit you with that right now.
I'll probably lose it. Wow, that was brutal. All right, well, that was it 2014, and I think Rich got a at least a B on it, maybe a B plus. So did
All
pretty
right,
good.
let's play. We're not gonna do this for a shot. We'll do this for a long sip of Guinness.
Okay, all right, I'm
All
in.
right.
I'm in.
All right. The question is, it's gonna be a multiple choice. I'm gonna give you three choices. How many kills are
Oh,
in the first Leprechaun movie?
oh my
Three,
God.
three, four, or five?
I'm gonna go with four.
And you were correct. That was gonna be for a
Oh,
shot, but it's a long sip of Guinness.
that was a guess. I can only remember the pogo stick kill.
Yeah, I could not list all the kills. All I could say was there were not enough, and I wish there were more. Um, All right, well, speaking of a movie that did not have enough kills, in my opinion, anyway, let's talk about
Mm.
Leprechaun Origins from 2014.
Ooh.
And this movie, while it is a Leprechaun movie, I don't believe this is considered part of the franchise, as it is a
Mm.
very different type of movie. This movie is not a horror comedy at all. It is straight up horror. It is a different actor playing the leprechaun, and the leprechaun is very, very different than the leprechaun everybody's used to. So I'll give the plot really quick. Backpacking through the lush Irish countryside, two unsuspecting young couples discover a town's chilling secret. They quickly discover that the land is not what it appears to be when the town residents offer them an old cabin at the edge of the woods. And soon they find out the reason why they were offered this cabin is because there is a local leprechaun who needs to kill, as the townspeople are holding onto his gold, and these young couples are basically there as kill bait. That's the plot.
That, that is quite a plot. And I have to tell you, right off the bat, I was way more into just like even the way this film started. It felt very 2014, a huge over the top action sequence with like this couple running through the woods, being tracked by like an unknown entity. It was kind of scary. It was really fast paced, a lot of fast cuts. I was surprised to see that the WWE film. So I'm assuming that there was a fairly larger budget. There was some known actors in this film, horror actors for sure. So I had high hopes for this when I first put it on. So I'll leave my initial thoughts as that is I had some good high hopes. It had some good looking film quality wise, and I was like, this feels like other films of this time, like Texas and um, even Cabin in the Woods or the Wrong Turn, things like that. It felt like that. So I'm like, I really hope it's like that.
Yeah, and speaking of the WWE thing, is they did the reason why they did this movie was there was, I guess, a WWE superstar at the time named Hornswoggle who plays the Leprechaun in this movie, and they were trying to kind of launch his career, which didn't end up going anywhere. But that was the reason why they kind of got involved in this. And I had the
Oh.
same thoughts as you. Yeah, I know. I had the same thoughts as you too, where like I was like, oh, this is going to be different. Like this is it because after watching that first Leprechaun movie, I was like, oh fuck, I can't deal with like another one of these. And I was like, this could be very different. This is actually like a horror movie. Like this could be kind of cool. Could be kind of cool, I guess, is like the main thing. Because like the movie starts off creepy and it's got the whole like
Like
again
it.
this stranger like from like in a strange land. They're from out of town. They don't know the local customs. It's like kind of creepy. They're in the Irish countryside, which is kind of scary. Like they're kind of setting it up like there's this like presence that's stalking them. So it started off really, I would say the first like half hour, I'm like, okay,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, I could be into this. And here's the thing, it's not that like the movie like falls apart. It's just really there's a couple things I don't like about it. One is that nothing really happens. And
Yeah.
the two couples of the four people, like they are alive for a very long time, and there's like a lot of just them getting kind of chased around, and like or they're in the house kind of defending the house for like a very long time. It just there's a lot of just nothing happening, and I lost attention very quickly. The other real note I have and why I didn't like it, it's I didn't like the look of the movie. It's very like unsaturated and dreary, and I guess like it was artistic, but it was way too dark, and it just was
Yeah.
hard to kind of watch because it looks boring. Like just the visually the movie looks boring, and you're in like the lush Irish countryside. It should be very
Should
green. It should
pop.
be
Yeah.
yeah, and I think they were trying to do the opposite of that and make it darker, but it just didn't work for me. Like I feel like it needed some color or just needed something. So it just like I feel like I was falling asleep while I'm watching it because like and I watched it in the afternoon on like a Sunday, and I'm
Mm.
like getting tired watching it because it's just so dark and dreary. And speaking of when I said in the very insert intro, I don't remember how many kills are in this movie, and maybe there end up being a ton, but there's not for a very long time. Like once you get
Yeah.
through that opening 5 minutes, like nothing happens for a good hour that's of interest. And unfortunately, this movie had a lot of potential, just by being tonally different. And like it could have been, it just wasn't scary. It just like it was a lot of the like repetitive stuff over and over again, and it was an interesting story. It's a shame because this could have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I really felt good in that first like 20, 25 minutes. Obviously, I'm huge on atmosphere, and I love that they were in the hillside of Ireland, and they go into that pub and the atmosphere. I love that. It was very American Werewolf in London,
Yep.
kind of very similar to what you just said, where they're not, they don't know the customs. They're kind of out of place. They're strangers. They don't really know what's going on. They kind of look at the locals, like the locals are kind of dumb and they don't know what's up, but it's really them who don't know like what's up. And I was like excited, and I do like the characters. Brendan Fletcher plays David, who's in one of my favorite films, Open 24 Hours, and he's also in one of my favorite Jason films, which is Freddy vs. Jason. I like this guy. I usually like the films that he's in. Melissa Roxburgh, who plays Jenny, and she was from Manifest, but I really know her from Diary of a Wimpy Kid because I used to really be into those. I'm a Disney kind of guy back in the, I still
Don't say back
really
in the
watch
day
a
because
lot
you
of.
still are.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. If Lizzie McGuire was on right now, I'd put that shit on. But I mean, I liked her from there. She played like the bitchy sister, so they had like a good cast, and I felt like they were going to do something with it when they kind of like all of a sudden intermingled with the locals, and the locals offer them this cabin to, I guess, essentially see some unknown historical site that I guess very few people have seen. And even though they were supposed to be leaving Ireland the next day, they decide that they wanted to see whatever this, like, it sounded lame, and I don't know why they would do it, but let's just say that they were interested in it. Okay, let's just say it. Like this is the coolest thing in the world that they were going to see. This fucking guy drives them like an hour out of town to some cabin in the middle of nowhere that was dirty.
Yeah,
It
just
had
shitty.
it had no electricity. It didn't have a refrigerator. I don't even know if it had running water. He just drops them off there with no food, no water, no
No
nothing.
beer.
Nothing. Yeah. They're just like, yeah, this is dope, man. I can't wait. It's like it's the middle of the afternoon. What the hell are you guys going to do until the next day where this guy picks you up? I mean, it was like I would be like, you know what? We're good.
Yeah,
Maybe
let's go
maybe
back. Yeah.
yeah, let's just go back. We'll do this another time. And I mean, I think the most exciting part for me is when that kind of old Irish guy just drops that rollie on the hook, and I was like, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, something's up here, man. I'm like, you just don't drop a Rolex on a hook outside. I'm like, what's happening? So that got me excited, and I didn't know it was some sort of payola for a leprechaun to kind of like cue him to get these people staying in the home. And then after that, it just kind of falls apart. Um, I don't know why the leprechaun was after him. They didn't make it clear what the debt was needed. Like, did was there X amount of people that the leprechaun had to kill for this debt to be like how long is this going to go on, I guess is what I'm saying. And they have to keep feeding people to this leprechaun that they owe money to. Like they didn't really flesh out the plot enough for me. And I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, that was my understanding was that they had needed to continuously give the leprechaun victims so that it wouldn't come after the townsfolks. But I think the better plan would have been like bring in victims and then kill the thing because it is killable. It's not that it's like, and this leprechaun, very different than the other leprechaun, is not magical. It's really just a
Mm,
monster,
yeah.
which doesn't look anything like I picture a leprechaun to look, which isn't a bad thing, but it's it's really just a creature, and that could be killed. And you would think just setting a trap would have made more sense. That way they don't have to keep bringing teenagers or college kids there to eat it. So that wasn't their plan though. It was just like we're just gonna have these kids, they're gonna get eaten, and then we gotta find more kids. It was pretty stupid.
Forever. Yeah, but
It was
it was
pretty
it was a
stupid.
dumb plan.
Yeah, it was a
It
really
made
dumb plan. It was
absolutely
no
like
plan. It was no plan.
it was, yeah, and I'm like, how long these people gonna keep it up? Because they weren't like in the hottest spot. They weren't like in Dublin. It's not
Yeah.
like there
How
was a
often
huge,
do kids come
yeah,
through here? Yeah.
come through and strangers coming, and if they have like this debt to this leprechaun, it's like you're never gonna pay it off. But it just didn't make any sense to me, like the reason why they were doing this, and then to have such a huge flaw in the trap of the house. Because apparently, like, this is the house, the cabin that they bring all the victims to, and they lock them inside there. But there was a really easy way to get out. And if you're in that house, I think it'd probably take you like 15 minutes to figure out, like, to get out the other way with the way the leprechaun came in. So it's just like the whole thing was kind of stupid. It's like once they got out, then it was like it wasn't really a trap. And now, of course, the town people are trying to help the leprechaun so they could pay back their debt.
But why
And
not try to kill the leprechaun? Like that would have made more sense instead of trying to help it out. And there's even like a scene towards the end where like one of the townsfolk, this guy Sean, like it's towards the end of the movie, and he like has the gun aimed at the leprechaun and like doesn't shoot it. Like it just lets it
yeah,
kind of get away. It really didn't make a lot of sense. And it's not like the leprechaun was something you could reason with. It didn't speak English. Like
no,
it was just a thing that was going to
there's
kill.
no
So like
one-liners from this one.
which is good, but like it didn't
Yeah.
make a lot of sense. Like again, like how do you know like what it wants and like it's just gonna keep coming back and killing? Like again, just kill the fucking thing. I also don't understand why it was called Leprechaun Origins. It's not like it's an origin story. Like it's just they
That
just
didn't make a
named
lot
it
of
that.
sense either
So
because
yeah,
it didn't follow
so
any Irish folklore. It was just a beast. And I know I mentioned a little while ago about how like the out of focus or the blurry shots or the dark lighting on the original Leprechaun was kind of annoying me. This was 100 times worse. You could not get a focus on what this thing looked like until like three-quarters into the film because every single thing was like a shaky cam
yeah.
or a blurry cam or at it. Like it was just so annoying. And I'm like, show the leprechaun. If it's
I
scary, show it.
I tell you what though, I'm gonna say this. I think I say this all the time. Like I'd rather not see it than see it and it looks shitty. And
Why did it look shitty? You could have made any leprechaun you
you could have made
wanted.
it look good. And I don't think it looked shitty actually. So when they do show it, it looked kind of cool and cool.
It's all right.
And
It's all
yeah, I
right.
mean it was all right, but like it looked kind of
It's all
scary.
right.
But like I'm like, okay, I was actually like good they're not showing it because I'd rather not see it than see some shitty makeup that I'm like, oh, that's not a leprechaun. So
Mm.
I'm not mad at that. I think too, there's a couple things, a couple tricks they did is one, they do a lot of things that are from the leprechaun's point of view. And it was like kind of like Predator, where like it sees in like
Mm.
infrared or something like that, which was kind of cool, but they kind of overdid it. And to be honest, like I would have liked it better from its POV if it saw like us, because then that's kind of creepy, like it's lurking. I don't like that
Yeah.
trick of like, oh, the leprechaun sees different, and maybe they do because it's an animal, but it just to me kind of takes me out of it, where I'm just like, I like pretending that like maybe I'm the POV killer and I'm watching it kind
Yeah.
of thing, which is what I like about slasher movies like that this didn't do. So again, I think they just overdid it. Um, and I think they wanted this to really be like a brand new franchise, and they were planning on doing a sequel, but it bombed, and the fans of the original Leprechaun, which there, I guess, as you know, there are fans, like
There
hated
are
it,
fans.
and they ended up going back to the goofy Leprechaun, but Leprechaun Returns, which people were like, "Yay, they made
Oh, is that
another."
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
people
I did
actually
not know
were.
that.
Yeah. So they canceled that and they said, okay, we're gonna make another we'll go back to the roots, and the fans were happy again. And I think they actually are gonna do another Leprechaun movie.
No, they're not. They can't.
Yeah, no, they are. They are. And it's gonna be again back to
Oh,
the goofy. They're even talking about like a TV series. So like people do love this shit. I don't know why,
damn.
but they do.
All right, you heard it here first, people. There's going to be a new Leprechaun, and the horror heads will take it on next St. Patrick's Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we love it, and it's a lot of fun. I do want to talk about the characters a little bit. I thought like the kind of the scenes that you're talking about, where they're just kind of sitting in the cabin and there's really like nothing going on for like 20, 30 minutes or whatever because there's literally nothing to do there. There's no electricity. There's nothing to do. I thought it was pretty funny how they kind of do like a little bit of character development and yeah, the two couples and obviously Sophie. Um, she wants to move in with Ben, and he's just like doesn't want to do it. And then she tries to entice him with like some ass, and she's like getting naked, and he's just like, "All right, time to go to bed." You know, I'm
Uh,
like, "Damn, this guy hates this girl. Why did he go to Ireland with her? He really doesn't want to like, be with this girl." And then in the other room, we have David and Jenny, and David had all of two beers and he's passed out and he can't like perform his duties either, so Jenny gets mad at me, which again leads to a banana peel that I hate, and that's a few minutes later where Jenny gives up. She's like, fine, I'm just going to go to sleep. There is a massive noise banging at the door. She jumps up. She's yelling for David, but he did have those two beers. So he so he doesn't get up, which I'm tired. I'm tired of this, Rich. I'm so tired of these films where it's like he's not hearing it. He doesn't wake up. He drank something. It's like, dude, if someone's screaming, like you wake up, you just jump right up. You're startled. There's not a person in the world that had two beers and is not going to jump up and be like, what's happening? And they always do that. So he shows up like 5 minutes later, like when all shit's like kind of happening. And I found that I found like the character development like really like useless because they were like, killer bait. And then the story they actually tell about them, why do we have to know that? Unnecessary. And then they just made them all seem dumb. So I don't know why they had any of that involved in the movie.
So this is the first time I've had two beers in a very long time, but I have had 8 to 10. I've had 8 to 10 whiskeys on occasion, and I'll be honest, I'm passed out in my bed. If my cat even moves halfway across the house, like I hear it and I'm
What
awake.
was that? What
Yeah,
is
so
that?
if someone was screaming, yeah, I'd get up and I
Somebody
definitely
banging
drank
on the
more than that guy.
door.
But yeah,
Is
it was really
it's
funny. Like both these girls are like super horny. They want to fuck. There's
yep,
nothing else to do, and both guys are
nothing.
just like, nah, no,
I,
I'm good.
I'm
I'm good.
positive
We go on a
there
vacation,
isn't
but
even
I'm
water to
good.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. You can't even drink a glass of water. There's literally nothing to do there. And both these guys are like, yeah, let's just get some good shut eye. Let me time in. We got to go see these Irish ruins or whatever it was, or this weird statue, whatever it was they were going to go see. And I found that like so funny, but also like really just I don't know, just useless, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess they had developed the characters a little bit,
But
but
did they though?
it
It
was
didn't
just
matter.
dumb.
It didn't add to the movie, right? Because like they gave you
No.
that little bit of backstory, but they don't like go back and reference it. Like because once
Yeah.
basically the leprechaun attacks the house, it's kind of like quote unquote action for the whole rest of the movie,
Yeah,
which
for the rest of the
and
film.
by action I mean, it's kind of boring action, but like they don't go back to like scenes of them like kind of talking for the most part. Like so all of that was really unnecessary. Like they could have just got to the action sooner then. Like it's like who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's what I'm
they're
trying to say. They could
interchangeable.
just got to
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it makes no difference. And um yeah, once the leprechaun is kind of introduced, it's kind of like a cat and mouse thing where he like kind of attacks them. They run, they hide, they get away. Then he attacks them again, and then they somehow figure out a way to avoid him. And they do that like ad nauseum. And like you said, it gets really repetitive. And they probably like four or five scenes where the leprechaun is attacking them. They get away. Finally, he catches them and ties them to a tree. It's like why would the
Why?
leprechaun do
Why
that?
wouldn't he just
Like,
kill them? Like, why would
why would he
he?
just kill them? He kills everybody that goes in the house. That's his job. It's the local's job to provide the people. It's his job to kill them. But yet he decides to tie them to a tree. And I don't know what he's doing. He's like taunting them. He does kill one of them, which I think was probably the best, or I don't know if it was the only kill in the movie, but probably the best kill is when he pulls the
The
spine
vertebrae.
out.
Yeah, I wrote a note. That
Yeah,
was the only thing I liked
oh
about this movie
man,
was that. That was dope. That was cool.
yeah, that was sick. And I'm like, how come you're not doing this? Like, how come this is not the movie? Like you knew to put this in that this would be cool, but yet you just showed it for like these 4 seconds, and then you showed us a bunch of bullshit again of the blurry leprechaun and the cat and mouse thing going on.
Yeah, so again, just like the original Leprechaun, like this did have potential. Like this could have been a kind of cool movie. I don't think it would have been a great movie, but it could have been like an entertaining, like interesting movie. Like
Hmm.
again, like and it's like even the scenes where they're in the house and they're trapped, like it's kind of home invasion-ish, but it just there was never that like the stakes just didn't seem that high. Um
There's no
and
dread. You didn't feel the tension or the dread at any time, I think.
yeah, yeah. And again, for a lot of the movie too, I'm thinking like, oh, all four of these people are going to survive. Like when that one
Mm.
person finally gets killed, I was like, oh wow, all
You're
right, they're going to
like,
finally
yes.
start killing people. Because I was like, I just assumed because they were already like together for a while and like escaped so many times. I was like, they're not going to kill anybody in this movie. This is just stupid. Maybe they'll kill some townspeople or something. So I give them
They
credit for
do
that. But sorry,
they
what?
do kill Jenny. They do kill Jenny accidentally, which I thought was probably like the humor in the film. I don't know if like maybe I'm just a little weird and I found that humorous where they come with that ridiculous plot to kind of like have her lure the leprechaun in through the fireplace, and they just assume without looking that the person coming in through the fireplace is not their friend, it's the leprechaun, and they just axe her down. So I thought that was kind of funny because they're like, oh shit, they just killed their friend. So I mean, it definitely counts as a kill, but the leprechaun didn't do it.
And of course there's like the final girl when she does take out the leprechaun. And I'm not spoiling
Oh,
anything because like there's more. If they wanted to make a sequel, they could have. What did she say? Like "fuck you, Lucky Charms" or which I think
yeah,
they
it's
say
like,
in the first one too. And it's just like it didn't fit the
um,
movie though, right? Because it's like the movie didn't have like these clever like one-liner kind of things, and then like it just came out of nowhere.
wasn't
And it's
that type of
always
leprechaun.
yeah, it was just like exactly like I mean, there was nothing about it that said Leprechaun to me where I would even compare it to like Lucky Charms. Like it again, it was a
Yeah.
monster. And it kind of almost makes me feel like there was a script and the script couldn't get made and then they're like, "Well, what if we just called it like Leprechaun and then we could make it?" And like, "Yeah, sure." Like and I don't think they changed much. Like I don't think because
Interesting.
again, it wasn't like it didn't feel like a Leprechaun. I think they were just using the title to kind of bring in people because it's known IP and uh and that was that. But I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know. Anyway,
is Leprechaun bringing in millions of viewers? I don't, I don't
again, they
know.
made eight
You
movies,
know,
so
I
I
think,
mean,
I think, I think if you named it Blurry Man, I feel like you could do the same numbers. You know, I just,
people are
I
watching. There's
don't
a whole
know.
Facebook group. You said that people
Yeah,
love these movies.
there is once again shout out to the Leprechaun lovers. Check out this episode. We're sponsored by them tonight. I appreciate it. All
Uh,
80 of us in that group. Now the whole world.
so
There's a
yeah,
massive 80 person following. Once I leave after this, there'll be 79. So
and that's who's watching these movies. That's who they're making these for. Yeah, man. I don't know. Look, it sucks because I was like, I'm actually gonna like this movie, and I was like, kind of
yeah.
excited, and it just kind of, it was bullshit. It was like nothing. I'll never watch this again. Maybe I'll watch the first one again, like 10 years from now, as like a fucking goof. I'll never
Yeah.
watch this one again. There's nothing redeeming about it. Even again, the cool kill that he
Uh,
pulled out the vertebrae because it was shot so dark and desaturated. Like you don't
yeah.
even really see blood, so it wasn't even really like it was cool the idea of it, but it wasn't like it looked super cool. Like I don't know, missed
Yeah,
opportunity with this one.
I wish they leaned into that. I wish they leaned into the atmosphere of Ireland and just the cool like local and the pub scene and all the different things that they could have did with that instead of the fake accents and the the bad plot hole filled storyline of why this leprechaun's doing this. I mean, if you have a Rolex they could give to a leprechaun, why are you still paying this leprechaun off? I feel like that should more than make up for anything that you
Yeah, how
owe
much is
him.
this gold worth, right?
Yeah, yeah, he steals a tongue ring.
It's like
Like it's just it's very strange, and there's so many plot holes, and it doesn't feel like it was well thought out. And I gotta be honest with you, when I saw that WWE logo and just the way it started, I had high hopes. I'm like, this, not that WWE films are good. It's
They're
gonna
just
be watchable. Man, this fell apart really, really quick.
yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't have a frame of reference for WWE films. Like I've never seen like See No Evil or any of those movies, so I don't really know. But um, yeah, anyway, yeah, this sucked. And like, will we give
It
Leprechaun
did.
one? We gave Leprechaun one a one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
I don't know. I'll just give this a one just 'cause I don't feel like thinking about it. To be honest with you, like
I
I'll
don't
maybe it's a zero. I don't know. Like this movie sucked. It was boring.
I don't know if I don't know if I ever did this before. I don't think I ever gave any zero. I don't know if today's that day,
Yeah,
but it's close.
I think I've given one
Uh,
zero. I think I gave Amityville Horror 2 a zero.
yeah.
And that might be the only one. Maybe I gave
Uh,
that Terrifier ripoff movie that we watched a zero.
that was a great movie.
Diced, diced.
Yeah,
I might
Dice, that was a
have
great movie, man.
I might
Give
have
that one
given
a
that a
three. That
zero.
was a good film, man. Look. This was a pretty bad film. Obviously, we watched it, to get, psyched about St. Patrick's Day, and it is holiday horror. So, I thought it'd be watchable. It really wasn't. I really didn't enjoy it. It didn't get me psyched for St. Patrick's Day. So I'm gonna have to switch gears and think of something else to watch that maybe I'll enjoy more. I don't think there's really much more to say about this particular film. So I think I'm gonna give my rating, and I think I landed on I'm giving it a half. That's what
I
I'm
have.
giving it. I'm giving it a half bloody knife. I don't think I've ever gave anything that bad. I mean, I wish I didn't. I do like Brendan Fletcher a lot, and I don't want to bomb his movie, but I have to be real. I mean, if people want to know like what a film rating should be, you should just figure out what Jerry gave it, and that's that should be your baseline right there. And no, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
but now I'm giving it a half, and it sounds like you're giving it a
I'll give it a one because I don't really want to think
oh
about it. I don't want to like. Who fucking cares? Like
yeah,
one half is
a
I have
one.
so I have my shot poured already that I did not
Uh,
drink.
no,
Oh, a
I
little
gotta pour
ASMR.
mine.
All
Yeah,
right.
I gotta pour mine here. Oh my God, I poured too much.
You know what? Fuck it. St. Patrick's Day. All right. Cheers.
All right, here we go. Cheers.
Oh, that was warmer than my other one. You know
Oh
what though?
my,
No, I like that. This has got flavor. I'm gonna. Oh,
oh my,
oh,
oh
woo.
Lord.
Hold on. Let me take some. Let me wash this down. Let me
Yeah,
wash this down with a little
it's a
Guinness.
frothy Guinness. You need a nice frothy Guinness to like cool
Ah.
that down.
All right, so that was like St. Patrick's Day and the Leprechaun movies. Our advice is don't watch any of them. Instead, do something else and just and just drink. You don't need to watch a movie on St. Patrick's Day. It's fine. Next episode up, we're going to talk about Heart Eyes, and then we have a special guest, actress model Fawn Winters is going to come on to talk about a couple of her favorite films, some classics we're going to talk about. We're talking about Creep from 2014 and The Craft from the 90s, which I haven't
Oh yeah,
seen in a very long time, and I
yeah.
actually do love that movie. I'm not gonna lie. Veruza Balk, I still have a crush on. So yeah,
Oh
so that's
yeah.
what we got going on now. So I have a little bit of this Guinness left, and I'm gonna finish it. And this is my second beer, so I hope I pass out like the character in Leprechaun
Like
Origins.
David, like
David,
David did.
I hope I pass out. There's no one here that's gonna try to give me ass. So I hope I sleep well. So
That's it, man. Definitely want to say cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and don't kick me out of the Leprechaun Lovers group until after this airs.
all right, peace. See ya.
Cheers.